we are gonna go from drab to fab. So today it was my first time buying a lipstick from YSL, so I was super eager to try it. It's called, I don't know. I actually don't know what it's called. Let me grab the box. Please hold while I transfer your call. Number 22 is the name of the lipstick. Isn't it so pretty? Oh, just kidding. It looks like that. So we are going to color coordinate with that. I wanted the brows to be quite strong, almost kind of straight edged, not too much, but going out elongated a little bit longer than I normally would. The eyes are going to be quite smoky, and the lips of course going to be bold and dark. Rest of the face, we'll just kind of play it by ear. So let's get started. I'm starting this look off by doing my brows first. I don't know why I have the urge to do them first, but we just are. I'm using the MAC Brow Crayon in Stud to fill in my brows. And first I'm starting off with one pretty strong line at the bottom, and then I'm going to fill in at the top. And I'm making the brows a lot darker and longer than I normally do. Almost kind of looks tattooed. I haven't used this brow pencil in like about a year, at least a year. So this should be interesting. I'm using the Studio Finish Concealer from MAC and NW40 for this next step. And I'm really going for like a sharp brow edge here. So with the 249 brush, I'm taking that concealer and I'm going to just clean up along the bottom there to get the desired shape that I want. I'm also using that concealer brush and I'm flicking upward at the end for a kind of curved eyebrow. I'm also going to take the opportunity to apply some of that concealer onto my eyelids. Even though this concealer is a bit lighter, it really doesn't matter. I'm now going to apply Artifact Paint Pot by MAC, which is this jewel toned paint pot here. You can use any purple or jewel tone base just like this one. And I'm applying Artifact all over my eyelid, from inner corner to outer corner, especially on the outer corners. You really want to double down on that. Double down. You like how I did that, don't you? Just kind of put that on that lid. And I'm kind of heavy-handed with my bases. You don't have to apply as much. It just depends on whatever look you're trying to accomplish. But I like my shadows to scream at you. I like them to be super pigmented. So obviously you got to give them a little bit more of something to stick to. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm then going to use a 226 blending brush, which looks just like this one. It's like a blending brush, but it's more tapered on the tip. And I'm going to use that to blend out some of that shadow base, just to smooth out any harsh lines that I may have created. I'm not going to do too much of that, just a little bit. And voila. I'm going to use some shadow shields underneath the eyes, www.shadowshields.com, and these are going right underneath my eyelid. It's going to catch any of that fallout we're going to be working with. Next, I'm using Smut eyeshadow from MAC, which is like a dark smoky purple, and I'm still going to be working with that 226 brush that we were using earlier, simply because it's pointed and tapered, and it's really going to allow for a really precise application of this color. So first I'm just packing that on, and then you're seeing me carve that into my crease. I like to say carve because literally I feel like I'm carving it. I'm just drawing a line in that socket area right in there, and then I'm applying a little bit more of that smut right on the innermost area of my crease right there. I'm darkening that area, I'm shaping it, I'm rounding it out. Then I'm applying it in the outer corner of my eye. I'm using a 224 blending brush. You can apply more color to the brush or eyeshadow. I did not. I'm just using the clean blending brush, and I'm blending out those harsh lines now to make for a smoother crease color there. And I'm just pretty much just going in circles and circles and circles around the edges of that crease color. And then windshield wipers back and forth. This brush is fluffier, so it's going to kind of diffuse out those lines that we created. Emphasis on the word diffuse. Disperse, break apart. I then applied Vex eyeshadow, which is also by MAC, and I applied that right into my brow bone, right up in there. I'm using Oberon pigment from Obsessive Compulsive Cosmetics, and I'm applying this color on my eyelid, but I'm also blending it into the smut eyeshadow that we just used. I'm gonna layer just a little bit of smut on top of that, just a little bit, and it's gonna look like that. I want the two colors to kind of blend into each other, so it's gonna look like that. I'm now lining my top lash line with the Smashbox Limitless eyeliner. You basically want to use something that is black and smudgy, and I'm going to line the outer corner of my eyelid and in the inner, not so much the inner, I'm pretty much going to stop kind of like in the middle. I'm going to take smut eyeshadow and a blending brush, and I'm going over that liner and kind of blending and buffing it out. I'm then going to use the YSL Shocking mascara and apply a nice thick coat of that bad boy onto my lashes. I use the Urban Decay 24-hour Glide On pencil in Baked, which is gold, a beautiful gold at that, and I'm using that to apply in my waterline. I also removed the shadow shield because we're going to be working in that area shortly, momentarily. I'm then using a flat liner brush to apply smut along my bottom lash line, and I'm smoking that out nice and smoky. I'm gonna pop some mascara down there. This is the Lash Stiletto mascara from Maybelline. I'm now using the Makeup Forever HD foundation all over my face and a Beauty Blender sponge, and I'm doing this for maximum coverage for this particular look. I'm applying this with the Fix Plus spray, by the way. Now I'm using the Ben Nye Mojave Matte Foundation in Cocoa Souffle. I'm going to apply just a bit of that on my the lower points of my cheekbones. And usually I like to do kind of a W shape. I'm only going to apply it about halfway there. I'm going to stop it at about halfway. I am blending that out with my Beauty Blender sponge. I'm using the Makeup Forever Lift Concealer. I don't have my exact shades, so I took shade number 5 and number 3 and I mixed them together. I'm taking the pointed end of that Beauty Blender sponge and applying the bulk of this concealer underneath my eye all the way into my temples. And it's not really getting all the way underneath my eye. I'm doing that on purpose. I really don't want it to mess with the under eye makeup. Whenever I feel the sponge start to get a little dry, I just add a little bit more Fix Plus and keep on blending. Then this is why I didn't apply the concealer too high. Instead of using the Beauty Blender for this step, I'm using a MAC 224 brush to blend underneath my eyes. All right, let's get back to blending that concealer out. As you can see, there's still a lot of harsh lines. Concealer's not really settling into the foundation yet. There's no smooth transition, so just keep blending. I'm using the Laura Mercier translucent setting powder for under my eyes. I'm applying a somewhat generous amount of that with a latex sponge underneath my eye area. When I say, you know what, I shouldn't have even said generous amount, because I know that some people are going to just take that and run with it. Don't over apply. If you've never used the Laura Mercier powder, not to say that it's super opaque on dark skin, because it's actually really great on dark skin. Start off small if you're not used to using translucent powders. I just came up with a really cool idea. I took that 226 brush that we were using earlier. I applied a bit of that Oberon pigment, and then I just packed it on the inner corner of my eye and then swept it downwards for this really cool, I don't know, like teardrop effect, I guess you can call it. This is where the sweeping comes in. You're going to take a large powder brush and just begin to brush off that excess translucent powder. Just kind of gently sweep. I'm going to line my lips with Courant lip pencil from MAC. I'm going to make sure it's very sharp, and don't mind my dry crusties. The trick to getting these dark, bold lip colors to work and to prevent them from feathering or bleeding is to use a lip liner. Trust me, I just learned this the hard way today. Lining the lips will also help the lip color last longer if you fill them in all the way with the liner. For an even sexier lip line, I'm going to take my Studio Finish concealer and just trace along the lip liner to perfect that line using an angled brush. Using a bit of a lighter concealer also helps the lips pop out more, which we will be blending momentarily. And then I'm just going to start stippling along that area. You can even add a little bit of your foundation to kind of tone down the lightness. I'm now going to use a powder on top of the foundation to even out all this just different toneness. This is the Mineralized Skin Finish from MAC. I'm now pressing that onto my face with a beauty puff. And I'm being sure to really apply some of that around my lips for that concealer that we added. And then on top of the under eye area, add a pink blush. One of my particular favorites is Dolce Vita from NARS, which looks like this. I'm applying Dolce Vita well into my cheekbones, starting from the apples all the way up into almost kind of like the temples. Last but certainly not least, our feature of the hour is the number 22 lipstick from YSL, which is very moisturizing, by the way. Told you we were gonna go from drab to fab. All right guys, that is the final look. Everything from dark eye to dark lip. There's nothing traditional or conventional about this look, but I wanted to try something a little different, and it's definitely fall appropriate. And I had no, why don't you guys tell me how awesome YSL lipsticks are? They're freaking amazing. They're moisturizing, they're super pigmented, and I think I might have found a new addiction. Crap, because they're really expensive, but I love them nonetheless. I hope that you guys like the look. Until next time, I will see you all soon. Thank you for tuning in today. Talk to you later. Bye.